All right, now it's time for the third segment. This might be where a lot of women, if there was any women that was with me all the way until now, this is definitely where I'm going to lose you. I probably lost many of you women during the first segment, the fallen angels and all of that stuff. I probably lost many of you then. But if you managed somehow to listen in awfulness until now, then I'm almost certain I'm going to lose another small group of women now. And I'm going to lose some niggas too. The third segment is called Aladdin, the real life Skynet. Aladdin, the real life Skynet. Now, if any of you have ever watched the movie The Terminator, there was this supercomputer by the name of Skynet. And Skynet pretty much took over the world, right? Well, I want to tell you something right now. There's a real life Skynet, and it's called Aladdin. And I believe it was founded in. That's the only information that I don't have. Let me get that real quick. I'm going to tell you when this robot, it's a robot, when was okay. There's a robot by the name of Aladdin. It was created or founded in 1988. It's been around since 1988. 2 years before 1990, so it hasn't been around. It's not a young cookie. It's older than a lot of you here on the internet. Okay? Aladdin, the real life Skynet. Aladdin stands for Asset Liability and Debt Derivative Investment Network. I'm going to say that again. Aladdin stands for Asset Liability and Debt Derivative Investment Network. Now, the stock exchange, we know, has been around for a long time. The stock exchange is linked to the Federal Reserve. Okay? That's the reason why when 9/11 happened, the stock market crashed. Okay? There is a company called BlackRock. This company is the technology hub of modern finance. Okay? Now, this new monetary system, we're going into a new monetary system altogether with the coins and the altcoins and all of this digital currency and all of that stuff right now. Okay? The entire monetary system is changing, all before our very eyes. Okay? There's a company called BlackRock, and it's the technology hub of modern finance, allegedly found by a man by the name of Larry Fink. And he created a robot application. It's a robot, it's an actual robot, and it goes by the name of Aladdin. So BlackRock is what you call a shadow bank, because many of you haven't heard of it. It's a shadow bank. It's not like Wachovia. Excuse me. It's not like TD Bank. It's not like Citizens Bank, Santander Bank, or Wells Fargo Bank, Bank of America, or Chase. It's a shadow bank. It's the largest shadow bank and the most powerful company on earth. Now, I want y'all to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say to you, because this company is not owned by the Amalekites. 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 It's owned by Esau. Operated and controlled by the Esau. It's the most powerful company on earth. And it's a shadow bank. There are other shadow banks. This is the most powerful, largest shadow bank. So many of you say, well, what's the shadow bank? Well, have you ever heard of it? No. What's the shadow bank? Some of you have heard of it, but many of you haven't. So what does Aladdin do? Aladdin acts as the central nervous system for many of the largest players in the investment industry. So I need you to understand the power of the words, or should I say the magnitude of the words that I just used. Central nervous system. Now, we as human beings, we have a central nervous system. What can we do without it? It's the core function of our being. The central nervous system is our heart. It's not our physical heart. It's our spiritual heart. It's our soul. The central nervous system is the core of our being. Without it, you can do nothing. You're a vegetable. Aladdin is the central nervous system for many of the large players in the investment industry. Vanguard, State Street Global Investors. Now, I need many of you to understand just how humongous Vanguard is and State Street Global Investors. These are two extremely powerful firms. These firms, both of them, are ran by the Amalekites, or the so-called Jews that you see over there in Israel today. The so-called. They run Vanguard, and they run Street, and they run State Street Global Advisors. They both rely on BlackRock. Listen carefully what I'm about to tell you. Japan's 1.5 trillion with a T. Japan's $1.5 trillion pension fund. Now, let me say that again. The country of Japan has a $1.5 trillion pension fund. Apple, Microsoft, the Alphabet, which is Google, and the three biggest U.S. public companies all rely on BlackRock's system to store hundreds of billions of their corporate treasury investment portfolios. Now, you say, well, why do they have to use BlackRock? Google and Microsoft? Apple? Isn't Apple like the largest company in the world? Apple? So why do they have to use BlackRock? Because they've all been given an offer that they can't refuse. That's why. Do you think Apple, Google, and Microsoft, Google, and that they're all software and electronic giants? Why do they have to use the software of anybody else? Well, first of all, the currency, the treasury, the currency that's in the treasury that they're talking about here is cryptocurrency. It's not talking about hard cash because the dollar is about to drop. Aladdin is a shadow corporation that sends somebody to the corporate of Apple, to the corporate of Microsoft, and to the corporate of the Alphabet Company and says, listen, you guys are too big and we are going to control your crypto assets. And if you say no, then we'll just get rid of Steve Jobs and replace him with somebody else. The Alliance Bernstein Company, Bernstein, that's an Amalekite last name. That company is worth $600 billion. They have been given an offer that they can't refuse. I'm going somewhere with all of this here. Just hang tight. 4 years ago, about 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, in February of 2017, BlackRock reached, are y'all ready for this? 20 with a T, $20 trillion. $1 trillion short of the entire American economy. And about $3 million over the entire European economy at that time. Today, it is unknown how far the reach or how far the arm of Aladdin is. Aladdin has grown into a system that is reliable of more than 4 times the value of all the money in the world. I want to repeat that to y'all. Now, I know that this is not important to a lot of you all. And many of you all need to go and study Aladdin for yourselves. Once again, I understand that this isn't important to you all. What I'm saying right now, many of you can care less. I understand that. But don't worry. Pretty soon, even if this may not matter to you, then for many of you blockheads, at least you'll feel it on a lower level. And because you don't know what's going on, you don't understand and you can't comprehend it on a grand scale, you'll be left in the dust. And I'm not talking about necessarily financially. Heck, I might be left in the dust. But that doesn't mean that we all can't get with the program and at least attempt and try. to stay afloat for as long as we can. Now, it's inevitable for all of us. I'm telling you that right now, especially for the Israelites, especially for black people. That doesn't mean you can't make a living for your family. No, you're going to get up, you're going to hustle, and you're going to do that. Many of us have to change with this system so that we can at least have a little bit more longevity. But at the end of the day, it's inevitable. Everything must collapse. Either there's going to be a catastrophic, unreachable. Well, it's bubbling now anyway. These bubbles can burst and they can go either way. It can go into a catastrophic depression, or it can go into a catastrophic inflation. Either way, it's still leaving the poor out in the cold. Now, it's going to say here, I want to say that again. Aladdin is reliable for more than 4 times the value of all the money in the world. I know that went over a lot of your heads. Many of you don't care. Aladdin is reliable for more than 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's reliable for more than 4 times the value of all the world's currency. Do any of you know how dangerous that is? Okay. Aladdin directs the actions of all the federal, Aladdin, so now we're talking about the Amalekite-controlled Federal Reserve. Aladdin directs the actions of the Federal Reserve. Every major bank, every single, if you can think of the bank, including the Switzerland bank, don't let nobody cap you up thinking that the Switzerland bank is independent. Not now that Aladdin is here. It was, but it's no longer independent. Even the Switzerland bank is now directed by Aladdin. So Aladdin directs the actions of the Federal Reserve. Every major bank and investment firm on Wall Street controls half the world's ETFs, 17% of all the bonds, and 10% of the stock market worldwide. 10% of the stock market globally. Wait a minute now. This was 2017. This was 4 years ago. And I'm going to explain something to y'all. Aladdin is keeping track of everything that each and every one of us is purchasing. I know I just want to keep reiterating these things that I'm saying because I want y'all to really grasp what's going on here. Many of you don't understand the magnitude of this. If you're not following the magnitude of this message, just go, man. You know what I'm saying? See, this is why I don't really care to rush back to you all anymore. I don't care to rush to you all anymore. Because you want to hear me, but you all just want me to feel some type of way. You all just want me to be down and out and all of these things. And for whatever reason, I have no idea. But if I come and I give you all some knowledge and I speak with enthusiasm and I speak carelessly about everything around me, you all don't like that. And I give you this information because you all want me to be weak like you. I'm not weak like y'all. So for many of you all who out there who want me to feel the way that you would feel, it's not happening. My concern is all the things that are going on around us. And it should be your concern to you. Not me, not social media, not the celebrities, not foolishness, but you should worry about your children, your sons and your daughters and your wives. But even they should come second to Christ. Because see, he's the only one that can give all those things back to us. Your wife can't give you nothing but pussy. Your children, they can't give you nothing but a hug. And those things feel good, don't get me wrong. But those things have limitations, and Christ doesn't. Now, I want to read over again what I just said because many of you don't understand the magnitude of what I just said. Aladdin is keeping track of everything that each and every one of us is purchasing. It knows what to buy and sell better than any other human. Did y'all hear that? In 2008, the global financial crisis hit. I know many of you, you know about the 2008. If many of you who are somewhat in age, some of you were young then, but many of you understand that in 2008 it was when the transition from George Bush to Obama. I was in shambles. I mean, I couldn't buy a refrigerator for my family. I was in bad shape in 2008. Not that I'm nobody now, but I'm just saying, if I need to buy a refrigerator, I can buy a refrigerator for heaven's sakes, right? But I mean, 2008 was horrible. Well, there's something that's going to come, and it's going to be worse than 2008. Rather yay or nay, meaning rather collapse or inflation. Because see, a lot of people don't know that certain inflations can go to such heights where to certain people it's going to feel like a collapse because they're not going to be able to sustain. So in 2008, the global finance crisis hit. The Lehman Brothers collapsed. For many of you, you understand what I'm talking about here. The Lehman Brothers collapsed and Wall Street started spiraling downhill. It was a meltdown for Wall Street. The U.S. government came crawling. This is something that you all don't know. The U.S. government came crawling to the BlackRock Corporation. They came crawling to Aladdin. Because Aladdin understood which assets to keep and which assets to throw away. That's the reason why, that's what happened to the stockbrokers. No more stockbrokers now, everybody. Okay? Wall Street is completely ran by artificial intelligence. There aren't any more stockbrokers on Wall Street, everybody. That was the whole purpose of the collapse. Because the Wall Street now has a new monetary system. Aladdin is telling the stock exchange what's hot and what's not. An artificial intelligence robot is telling the stock exchange globally what's hot and what's not. Well, no, not globally. Not globally, because China ain't playing that shit yet. Not yet. But hang in there, because I want to show y'all something, tell y'all something about Aladdin. Okay? See, BlackRock is a shadow corporation. In case you all don't know, I know a lot of you guys on Instagram think you're tough. A lot of you social media influencers, a lot of you speakers, a lot of you street people, a lot of you people fresh out of jail, you toughest niggas from jail home. Many of you think you tough. I understand that. But I'm about to tell y'all what a true gangster is. Beyond the comprehension that many of you can understand. And none of you gangsters are going to do anything about this because you can't. It's out of your control. You're just not gangster enough. I'm sorry. Okay? See, when Gaddafi didn't comply with America, when Saddam didn't comply with America, when Castro didn't comply with America, when Bin Laden didn't comply with America, Bin Laden got framed. Bin Laden didn't have anything to do with 9/11. He didn't have anything to do with it. Bin Laden didn't have anything to do with it. He got framed. Saddam Hussein, he whenever you see an insurrection in a third world country, it's most likely because their leader chose not to take, their leader chose not to take the offer that the powers to be gave them. So, okay, you president of this African country, you don't want your people to take the jab? Okay, we get rid of you. See, there's a shadow corporation, right? That will send somebody, they don't even bother with us, not me, but with you so-called gangsters, you internet gangsters, right? Because that's what many of you are, internet gangsters. Not all of y'all. Some of y'all are the real thing. But a lot of y'all that's loud, that talk a lot, and always taking selfies, y'all internet gangsters, right? See, they will send somebody to y'all, and y'all won't even see them coming. See? But they're not worried about people like y'all, right? They're worried about the Gaddafis and the Saddam Husseins, and they'll just let us kill us. That's what they've been doing, and that's what we've been doing to ourselves. No need for them to really get involved. But it's a bigger agenda on the table, right? So, today, over 70% of all trades. So today, in America, not the world, but in America, over 70% of all trades are controlled by robots, with Aladdin leading the way. The government went crawling back to Aladdin after the so-called pandemic hit in the beginning of 2020. So, because we all know that this pandemic hit, right? And when the pandemic hit, it caused, financial troubles, whatever, whatnot. This government went back crawling back to Aladdin after the global pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Now, how does it know what everybody is buying? That's because just recently, Aladdin has acquired a company called eFront, which was a massive company that collects data on all the things that you and I, me and you all, that we earn and buy, including equity, real estate, everything. It has information on the entire global real estate market. BlackRock and its lower Amalekite firms have been purchasing single-family homes. So when there's some homes that you see the for sale signs on them, right? And you call the for sale sign, and the owner being New York, where a lot of the Amalekites, so-called Jews, Amalekites and so-called Jews, they're the same people, right? Certain houses, they buy them up. Why? So that you niggas can't get them. And they also don't want some white people to get them either, right? BlackRock has already practically pushed Zillow out of the market. BlackRock has pushed Zillow out of the market, pretty much. $1 trillion or $2 trillion. In case you all want to know, this information was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and 2 years ago. So since 2019, or really since 2017, BlackRock has a $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion to $2 trillion in assets. It's making $1 trillion to $2 trillion in assets every year. So since 2017, it's made $8 trillion. So now they're probably worth $30 to $35 trillion, which would probably be at this point 75% of the world's complete assets. We already know that it's 4 times the world's value considering cash and gold. But now it's about 75% in its complete assets, including cryptocurrency. So Aladdin will eventually own everything at the rate that it's going. And everybody, all the people, except for the certain people, the certain Esau, Aladdin will own everything, and people like you and me will own nothing. All you got to do is look at some of these movies, and you see how things have happened after certain parts into the future. Everything is controlled by artificial intelligence in some of these movies. Okay? So, Aladdin is oxygen. Okay? Aladdin is like oxygen. Now, I'm just telling y'all, don't be caught up into this world. Don't love this world. Be prepared to go. Be prepared for the return. It's time to get prepared for the return of Christ. I'm telling y'all this now. I'm telling y'all this right now. You may not feel it right now because it's a shadow bank. But Aladdin is our oxygen.